today's episode, we spilt a lot. There was a lot going on, but we talked about diversity versus representation and why both of them have equal holdings, but why it's really important that businesses and people understand the difference between diversity and representation. What else did we talk about? Ourselves. We did talk about ourselves. I opened up a lot about my brother and that situation around having difficult conversations with family when it comes to, this space.
Yes, we had some really decent questions about how to talk to your kids about diversity and if we should not be talking about diversity at all.
Yeah, we really did chew the fat today.
We chewed the fat.
Yeah, so listen to the poddy on the sofa with Cece. Cheers to us, babes. Episode number 2. Episode number 2. Cheers.
New merch.
Cheers. New merch, everyone. Catch it. Right.
Champers in the teeny today.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Can't beat it. So, what's the word on the street?
What's the word on the street?
Word on the street.
What's the word on the street?
Word on the street. Word on the street.
Well, I saw an interesting little...
What's the word on the street this week, Lou?
Well, this week... I think was it this week, actually.
Sorry?
Yeah, this week.
This week, yeah.
In Haringey. Is that how you say it?
Haringey?
Is that how you say it?
Haringey.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. You talk to me about the way I speak sometimes. Haringey.
I'm not a Londoner.
Do me a favour.
What do you say? Holborn or Holborn?
Holborn.
It's Holborn.
Holborn.
Yeah, that's what the lady says on the tube. Holborn.
Mm.
Anyway, Haringey. Black Boy Lane. That was a road in Haringey. Has been renamed to what is that? La Rose Lane. Do you know why it's been called La Rose Lane?
No, do you?
Yes, because I read an article.
I thought you were asking me because you didn't know. Go on.
Shit. So La Rose Lane has been named after a black poet and publisher and activist called John La Rose. Yeah, so that's why it was named La Rose Lane.
Am I correct in saying, though, this is something that I have a bit of a thing about, and I know we've had the conversation, but it still says Black Boy Lane underneath?
Well, I was actually going to ask you the question, yeah. So, yeah, it does still say previously Black Boy Lane underneath, which I believe is temporary. I don't think that's always going to be there.
Right. Why don't you think that, though?
Because I think, all of a sudden you've just renamed a street that everybody knows as Black Boy Lane, and then say you live on that street and you've invited your family member over from Australia and you're like, I live on La Rose Lane, and it's not popping up as that yet. It's popping up as Black Boy Lane still. I think people need to be transitioned.
I get that, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like it's pointless because it's still going to be on there.
I want to see, if it actually comes up on the map. We should have done this before. La Rose Lane. What does it come up as?
I just feel like if you're going to get rid of the name, get rid of it completely, because otherwise it's still there. Otherwise it feels a bit pointless. And I get what they're trying to do because they have to be transitional, but I don't know. Is there a better way of doing it transitionally so that it comes up on the maps? All it is everyone has Google Maps, right?
Yeah, it comes up on the map. I just looked.
It's La Rose Lane. Does Black Boy Lane come up still?
So I actually want to know what the demographic is there, because a lot of people actually objected to this being changed.
I heard, yeah. I did hear that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Maybe we can find that out and come
Do
back.
you think that it's progressive?
I think it is. I think, someone's obviously complained about it, right? Someone's obviously gone to the council and said, this is not okay, you need to change it. And I think it's been a gradual thing that you can see that the government is starting to change things that have negative history.
So, according to the BBC News, they say the council launched a consultation into the name change following the events after the death of George Floyd in the US in 2020. I mean, it's a bit wild, isn't it? That it's only just been changed now.
It's a bit wild that it took the death of George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, for them to actually change something.
Yeah, it said many residents were concerned about the impact its continued use has on black people in Haringey. Have I said it right? Haringey. But admitted a significant number of residents on the street objected to the idea.
I want to know who why would you object to changing the name from something that could be derogatory or be seen as rude or
who
harmful?
Gives a shit about street names in the first place?
Yeah, why does it bother you?
Who's got enough time to give a shit about street names?
Did your grandma come up with the name?
Exactly.
Was it your grandma?
Exactly.
No, your grandma did not come up with the name, so jog on. Anyway, next item on What's on the Street.
Well, I saw an interesting little snippet on RD talking on another podcast called Spilling the Juice, which I'm not really sure about the whole setup of that. It's basically people getting pissed. And he,
she says with her coupe of champagne.
But this is just us, right? This is a safe space.
It's a brave space, darling. Brave space.
Yeah, so basically he was talking about how it's quite difficult to penetrate the urban scene, like the rap scene, as a member of the white community, and that he's had a lot of people kind of accusing him and pinning his success on the fact that he's white, which was quite an interesting spin because I don't feel like that's really covered in the media a lot of the time.
So what they're saying is that the reason why he's got successful is because he is white and he's been used as a token. Is that what I'm getting, or is that I just made that up?
Well, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But obviously this is all opinion
interpretation.
based.
Yeah. Okay.
That is my opinion, or the fact that it's kind of like the whole Eminem situation. You know.
But I don't think Eminem got that kind of backlash, did he? I can't remember. I was very young.
No, but I think a lot of people did. I mean, he is incredibly talented in my eyes, in my opinion. But I think there was a lot of people who grouped together and said, like, well, he's just the only white boy on the scene, so he's bound to be successful.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's such a shame, but that's reverse racism, isn't it? Is it reverse racism or
I
just
don't know if
racism?
it's reverse racism. I think it's just like
stereotyping.
Why take away from people's successes? One of his things that he said was that it's funny because people think that. Oh, what was that song that he did? Oh my God, what is it? The one with is it Adiola?
Is that his song?
I think it's Adiola. H, actually.
Adiola. Yeah.
Getting all my grime artists mixed up now.
I didn't even know you were really that into grime, to be honest. I'm pretty shocked.
It's no. I'm not. It's Ricky. Ricky obviously plays grime all the time, so it's a world that I've been opened up to since I've been with him. But well, I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, so basically, he had this big hit, that everyone was jumping around in the club, singing. Everyone loved it. Even my little brother loved it. And he's saying everyone thinks that song came out, and I just came out up on the scene out of the blue.
Right.
I just had this one hit, and all of a sudden I'm on the scene, and I'm raking in success. Blah blah blah. He's like, but previous to that song coming out, I've spent a hard 10 years of graft trying to get into this industry.
That's what people don't always see, though, which I always find quite annoying, is that people don't actually see the work that goes behind the scene. And then when people do pop off, they're like, oh, you've just popped up because it's a trend.
Just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That can actually happen.
Yeah, you can just, well, it can. It can.
Yeah,
Some people do. People do get success
videos.
from just a viral video. There's quite a lot of people out there that have gone viral because of one video.
Or connections.
Connections, yeah.
Connections, big time.
Interesting though, because it's sad because it completely takes away, like you said, from your own success, and you start to question yourself, like, oh, am I just here because I'm white? Or am I just here? Yeah, I mean, that's happened.
If you haven't got a thick skin,
yeah, it's happened to me before. To be fair, I have actually had that. I've had it before where people like feel like
saying that you're only successful because you're white skin.
Not because of my white. Now she's spilling it on me. Like, now, do you know what I mean? Like, before you were spilling it on other people, now it's like on me. But I mean, what I mean is that I've had it before where people have said to me, "Oh, you're the only black person here. You've been employed because you're black."
Yeah.
You're hit like tokenism, and like I remember when I started working, doing what I do for Turtle Bay. And when people were like, "Is it you've been hired as the equality and inclusion partner because you're black?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why is it not just because?"
It's because I'm good.
It's because I'm good at what I fucking do, and I'm black on top of that, so it helps. But it's not the only reason, and I think tokenism just gets sometimes people use that as a way to make themselves feel better about themselves.
Indeed. And you know what? This is a very good entry into the topic of conversation that we wanted to highlight today, which is representation versus diversity.
Yeah, it does. But before we jump into that, we've got to find out what we've been doing this week. So what have you been doing this week? What have you been up to? I want to know. Tell me about your week. Spill it.
Tell you about my week. Okay. So we had a nice meeting with a potential new client on Monday, which was lovely. Really nice lady that we met. It was good. I don't know if I can name names or I don't think drop in.
Let's not name names until we've signed the contract. I feel
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but it was a really good meeting. She was very open and honest about where they are on their journey, and she was kind of very open in the fact that she was like, I don't actually know what I want from you.
I feel like that's happening a lot lately.
It is.
People just coming to us and being like, help me.
Don't know what we're doing. Don't know where we are. Can you just tell me everything that you do? And then I can decide what I like the sound of. Yeah. And we'll go from there. And I think I like that though. I prefer that to people coming in with like an agenda.
I think generally people then discover what they need through the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's exploratory.
Exploration.
Exploration.
Yeah.
I just really struggled there. Anything else this week? What else?
So we've just come from the Think Inclusive panel discussion.
Oh yeah, the Think Inclusive Roadshow was this week.
Think Inclusive Roadshow, yeah.
That was...
Go on. We can't say the same shit at the same time. That'd be boring.
Is that not how it works? Okay, go on. Sorry. Go on. I'll shut up.
Do you know what? I actually really enjoyed it. It was nice to be on the other side of the panel in the audience, just relaxed, listening to what other people's journeys are, what they're sort of dealing with in terms of like the E&I space, and actually just getting some like inspiration. And obviously, you know me with my pen and paper. I love that. It becomes a big old think pad, like brainstorming, ideas are shooting out of people's arses. I don't know why I had to go there.
Why?
I don't know. No, literally just shooting out of people's little antidotes.
Antidotes, yeah.
Anecdotes.
And anyway, moving on.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it was a really interesting conversation. It was all around the future of inclusion. They had 5. Was it 5? 5, 4.
It was around the future of inclusion, but I don't know that I really felt like.
She's spinning it again. Go on.
I don't know that I really felt like it was innovative enough to be the future of inclusion, but it was very current.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
Wow. I would agree. I think it was less of a panel discussion, more of a round table. And the difference between a panel and a round table is with a panel, it's back and forth. Whereas a round table, I thought it was just like each individual sharing their ideas.
Yeah.
There was no back and forth of questioning. There was no people finding out more, digging deeper. It just felt like a bit of a, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And I personally didn't feel like I was getting anything from it that I hadn't heard before.
Yeah, but do you know what was nice? The fact that it was different angles from different areas. So there was
And different industries.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there was lady that was doing E&I within recruitment. There was a lady from sales. There was a lady from an industry which I knew absolutely nothing about, which was super interesting.
Energy.
Like the whole energy, like oil, all of that stuff. She was very informative.
She was the best. Yeah, she was like... She was
ranking now.
I just felt like I personally engaged with her and on a level, and I was just like, she was talking, and I was able to take from what she was saying and use it in the industry that we are in, and put it into like hospitality specifically, and I just thought she just gave some really tangible information that you can take away, and that's what I didn't get from the others, was like tangible. And I think the other one that was really good was obviously Joe's section around what Turtle Bay's done, because she opened it up to conversation, so she put questions back into people, which then
she batted it out,
which then opened the room up for conversation, which I was like, oh my god, amazing, we can all talk, because we've been sitting there for 3 hours just like listening. So yeah, I liked that. I like being able to converse.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I do like listening to people though as well, because like I said, it gives me a lot of scope for ideas. You know that I love to just generate ideas. That's my thing. That's what I do behind the scenes. I like to generate ideas.
She's an idea generator. But yeah, the event was really, really good, and it was nice to host it. It was nice to be on the other side, not being like on the panel. I love a panel though, and I realised when I was on the other side that I prefer being on the panel.
Oh my god, so much. That is one thing that I did to sit and think to myself, like, I do like doing the talking. Yeah. Like, there were so many parts where I actually just wanted to interject and talk about what they were talking about.
Same.
But in my way.
Same. That's why I spoke so many times. I was literally like... constantly, like, and I felt like I was annoying Joe, because she's obviously was the one that was meant to be like leading it, and I was just like, you're not saying what I need you to say, so I'm going to say it how it needs to be said.
I think she was grateful for that.
Yeah, she was. Joe Cole, you did well.
You did good, girl.
You did good. But yeah, it was a lovely, lovely day, lovely afternoon, and it's always good to spend time with other DEI people in different spaces.
Yes.
And just learn from them and connect. Like, we made so many good connections today, and I think that's amazing. That's what networking is so important.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's made our week. What else? What have I done this week? I have ripped a bandage off. I ripped a bandage off that needed ripping off.
What one?
What one? You're a bitch. Just a fucking bitch. Fucking spilling shit everywhere. Honestly.
Bleep.
Am I allowed to? Oh yeah, am I allowed to swear? I don't even know. Are we allowed to swear?
It's our podcast. We can't not swear.
So I've told you about, you know, the situation with my brother.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, I am one of three. I come from a very traditional Nigerian Christian family, and we're all on a journey together. And they've done so well in learning about the LGBT community, in learning about DEI as well, and trying to, make sure they're championing what we're doing, and it's amazing. But my brothers have been so good, but every so often they'll make comments that I'm like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And so my brother recently made a comment which offended me, and I just kind of shut it down, and I kind of didn't really think about it. I was like, it's what he does, blah, blah, blah. And then everyone else around me kind of made a bit of a drama of it. and said it was out of order. And it wasn't until that point that everyone else was saying it that I was a bit like, yeah, it's out of order. It's really bad. It's slightly homophobic. And I don't think he really understands that it's just disrespectful.
Yeah.
And so everyone else in my family said they were going to have the conversation with him and that he would apologise. And I waited for the apology all of January.
I know.
All of January, it didn't come. And so I was like, I know I'm going to have to be the first person to make the move. I'm the oldest, so I'm like, I'm going to have to be the one that has to bloody call him and be like, I'm disappointed in you. And so I did. I called him last night and I was just like, look, I'm disappointed in you because you didn't apologise. I was like, because it hurt me. I said, it hurt me and it was disrespectful to my partner.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to me and it's not okay. And his response was, I didn't even know, what did I say?
Yeah, he's forgotten about this a long time.
Yeah,
a
long time ago. And he was just like, you know what I'm like. I don't say things to offend you. I don't care that you're gay. You've been gay forever. And I was like, it's not the point. The point is that you said something that was homophobic. I know I've been gay forever. And I was like, honestly, he was on loudspeaker and Sean was in the corner and Sean was looking at me like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Because he couldn't, in his head, couldn't figure out that the fact that Dammy just didn't apologise. And then the conversation went on to the point where I was like, you know, you are someone that I think has potential to learn about a new, community, but you haven't gone out of your way to try and do that.
Yeah.
And I said, you might think it's okay to say that to me, but if you said that to someone else that didn't get you, they would take offence to that because it's rude. I said, I get you. I get that you don't have a problem with me being gay, but you saying that makes me feel like you do have a problem, and it also disrespectful to the people that I surround myself with that I know would find it offensive. But then, like, I had to, like, really stop myself because I felt like I wasn't going anywhere with him, with the conversation. And he was just like, you're my brother. I should be able to have a laugh with you. I should be able to have a banter. I can't believe you didn't see it as a joke. And I was like, look, I obviously want to have a joke with you, but it offended me. And unfortunately, you have to realise that the intent of what you might have said and the impact can be very, very different. And unfortunately, I'm a very sensitive soul. And you've got to realise that you're probably going to say stuff I'm going to be offended by, and I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you when it's offended me, and you just have to apologise and we move on. So I was happy. At the end of it, I was happy.
Did he apologise?
Yeah, in his roundabout way.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, bless. I mean, speaking of families, I actually popped round to my mum's the other day. We were in the kitchen and she was telling me about Maisie, my daughter. She was telling me about her getting involved with something with my mum and then going off into another room or something and then coming back and being like, what's going on in here? Like, she's had, like, FOMO, yeah. My mum was like, she shouted at her, she went, you with your mofo? Like, what, Mum? She was like, mofo? I was like, no, you just called her a motherfucker.
You mofo!
I think that's the menopause for you.
Oh God, we need to get into that.
Yeah, we've got some interviews coming up on that.
Yeah, we need to get Kay in to talk about the menopause.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any idea what it really entails.
No.
Or the impact.
No, but it's so funny because, like, watching my mum go through this whole, like, process of changing is just seriously eye-opening, and I can tell you now, I'm scared. I'm scared.
I'm scared.
I'm scared for you to be with me.
I am
when
as
that
well.
happens.
I'm also scared because I've also surrounded myself with like 100 gaggle of girls. So
yeah.
it's just all going to be doing it at the same time.
But you must have been through it with your mum now. Your mum's older now.
I feel like my mum's been going through the menopause since I've known her.
Since birth.
Since she gave birth to us, she's been going through the menopause. But my mum's on a different level, and you know that. We need to get Agnes on the show.
Let's get Agnes and Kay on the show. Oh my goodness.
Right, so we're going to move on to the juiciest part of the show, which is getting into the E&I topic of the week, which is all around... We need a jingle for everything. E&I topic of the week. There you go. What's it called when you like, you don't let anyone else, no one can steal your like jingle?
Copyrighted?
Copyright. That's copywritten. Everyone, don't take it. I don't want to see it on TikTok.
patented.
I don't want to see it on TikTok. And our topic of the week. So this week we are talking about diversity versus representation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the topic. So let's get into it. First of all, should we start off from the beginning?
Yes.
You're looking at me like, what's the beginning?
I mean, that is exactly what I'm looking at you like.
You're like,
what is the beginning
What's the beginning?
this?
Do tell.
Yeah.
So the beginning is we obviously set up our consultancy with diversity, inclusion, and well-being. That was our consultancy. That was what the focus was. And we,
Oh. Okay.
yeah, I'm going from the beginning. So we set the consultancy up as a diversity, inclusion, and well-being consultancy because that's what we thought was the right thing to do at the time. And I guess
that's what we knew about.
that's what we knew about. Yeah. And that's what the conversation has always been about.
And now we know better.
Now we know better. So we started doing the work, and then I guess we realised that everyone's talking about diversity.
It was after we got approached so many times, wasn't it? About
During Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, we need to be more diverse.
Yeah.
We need to be more diverse.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
What specifically
What
are you
do you
looking
mean?
for? Yeah.
We need more black people. Oh, right, okay. That's not diversity, but fine. That's not only diversity.
Yeah. It happened so often though, didn't it?
It happened so much. That
So
we were
much
like,
in 2020.
we need to do
It was
something
annoying.
about this.
It was annoying because it was
Yeah.
like,
It's frustrating.
and the way that people would say it as well, it's just like, so we need more black people.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that, black people? And I was like, yeah, you can say black people. Yeah, I'm black. So we had this frustration, I guess.
Fluorescent beige.
I'm black, bitch. That's a Beyonce song. If you don't know, you need to know. So we had this, I guess, aha moment where we were like, actually, we could set ourselves aside from everyone else and be really different here and fucking drop the D.
Drop the D.
Drop the D. So we were like, okay, what does that even mean? Drop the D. Explosion. James, add it in. So what we mean by that is that the focus needs not be on diversity. Why, Louisa?
Because diversity is all around us. Diversity exists without us having to focus on it. It's natural, it's organic, it's everywhere. Every human being encompasses a whole shitload of diversity within them. So it's not something that we need to focus on within businesses because it already exists there.
Yeah. And I think that businesses were focusing on it so much that they were forgetting about the diversity that was already within their business.
Yeah.
And so they were focusing so much on, we need to attract more diverse candidates. So we need to make sure that we are putting jobs on places that black people might apply or disabled people might apply or LGBT people might apply. And it's like, what? Like, literally, those different types of people don't go on specific job boards looking for specific jobs in those for their characteristics.
Yeah, they're trying not to exclude themselves.
They don't want to work with other gay people. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like, we were having the same conversation. So we were just like, okay, Rewind Selector, we are going to be...
Is that a thing now?
Rewind Selector. Is that not the first... I thought that was the first time I said it. I thought it was really cool.
You definitely said that last time.
Did I?
That's jokes.
Oh, right.
It's
Okay.
a thing.
Rewind Selector. Okay. Oh, there's so many little jingles that we've got in this show. It's absolutely jokes. So we rewind Selector, and we were like, what are we gonna be? Who are we? And then we were like, actually, the focus really needs to be on equity first. And then equality and an inclusion, and well-being, rather than it being diversity, inclusion, and well-being.
Yeah.
And I think that really then meant that we were like focusing more on how do you make sure that businesses become more inclusive, equitable, and have a sense of belonging for the team.
Yeah.
And then when we started to have conversations with businesses now and people, when they mentioned diversity, we were like, well, actually, your business is really diverse. And then
Yeah.
they go, no, our business is full of loads of white people in leadership and they're mainly men who are over the age of 40. And then you go, well, that's not a diversity issue.
No.
That's a representation problem, darling. You need more representation in your senior leadership.
Yes.
That's what you need. And do you know how you do that? By hiring us. This champagne has gone to my head. But no, in all seriousness, it's funny because we had real like moments where we were like, it makes so much sense that we don't focus on diversity because people are getting lost in the D.
Yeah.
Like, lost in the D. Stop. I need to stop. Oh, God.
I'm here for it.
Explain. You take over. Explain why people are getting lost in the D.
That was your train of thought.
I know, but you're in my head. You're in here all the time. So take over.
People getting lost in the D. Well, I think that is the summary, really, isn't it? That getting lost in diversity, getting too like caught up in needing to hire representation and labelling it diversity when you're not actually concentrating on the employees that you already have to maintain retention, to make sure that you've got an inclusive culture, to make sure that you have a sense of belonging for your people, to speak to your people and actually understand why is there no representation in your business?
Yeah.
You know, from the horse's mouth, like, why is there no representation in your business? Why are people not progressing up into managerial roles or senior leadership roles, you know, and above? Why is that not happening? You know, what kind of message are you putting out? What's your marketing? You know, what does your website look like? What's your language use? Like, so much stuff that you need to look at, so many aspects that you need to overhaul to understand why that representation isn't sitting in your business already, not just the recruitment piece. You know, like, why are we not attracting any ethnic minorities into our business? That's not where you start.
No.
You're like halfway through the journey before you've even started.
Yeah, and the problem is that it's not a problem, I guess. Well, no, it is a problem. I'm going to be straight. I'm going to be frank with you, okay? The problem is that if you try and attract diverse people into your business and you haven't got the equitable processes, the equitable training, like you're not treating everyone as individuals and you're not making sure that everyone feels like they belong and they're included, then those people are going to come in and going to go, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah.
You don't know how to talk to me.
Yeah.
You're still using the wrong terminology. You're still using the wrong pronouns. You're still saying guys when there's all females in the room. You know,
Yeah.
That's why you need to focus on the inclusion first and the belonging and the equity before you focus on then building that diversity up in senior roles and improving representation. And I think when you think about society as a whole, society, like the country and how the country's run by the same people that run the country, the same people that run the businesses. Like representation is a. I'm going to stick to UK because talk about what I know. But in the UK, we have a representation issue. We have a pandemic
of
lack of.
What was it you said earlier? Stale,
pale, and male.
A male.
Stale, pale, and male. That's our pandemic. Like it's the thing. And I'm just like, that's what the focus needs to be on. And I think it's so interesting when you go into businesses and they're still talking about diversity, and then you give them that like, well, did you know that actually in this room you currently have a female, a male, someone over the age of 50, someone wearing glasses. Where were you born? Where are you from? Where do you live? There's diversity there. You know, diversity is so much more than what you can see, and people
100%.
so focus on the physical aspect of diversity, they completely forget that people have intersections.
I think that's panic mode, isn't it? Like, it's panic mode. It's like, right, we need to do something about D&I, and we're looking at our business, and we're looking at senior leaders, and we've only got a certain category of people within our senior leadership. We're panicking. We need to hire some visual diversity. It's panic. It's like, what was it? One of the ladies said a really good line earlier, and I was like, yes, that is the one. It was reactive performative reactions.
Yeah,
performative reaction to like current affairs, things that are going on. So, for instance, Black Lives Matter, the performative reaction was, we need to hire black people.
Yeah.
To make sure.
And that's dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
It really is. And I think, do you know what? I think that it then starts to be more tokenism than...
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to call anyone out on any of the shit that they might have done.
We haven't called anyone out, per se, but we are actually labelling this. That is tokenism.
That's the definition of tokenism. Yeah, it is. Like if you are if it's performative and there's no real thought or there's no understanding as to why you're doing this, then it's performative and it's tokenism. It's interesting.
Yeah. So that's why we decided to drop the D.
Yeah, and it's obviously, fun to keep saying drop the D.
Your fave line.
I know, I love it. I think I went on stage once and said that somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like you actually did a mic drop. Was it at our event?
No. It was at the Turtle Bay conference when I first started working with them. No. Yeah, early on working with them, I did a conference at their management conference, and I started off and went, so we're not talking about diversity anymore, we're dropping the D, and everyone literally went, who's this guy?
Two things get to know on Sisu. We drop the D. We drop the D.
We're so immature.
And we call in. We don't call out.
Yeah, we call in. Tell everyone, what does that mean?
So when we started doing our workshops and things like that, and we were advising people about how to sort of pull people up on mistakes that maybe were not intentional or intentional, and we decided that calling out was a little bit aggressive, a little bit finger pointy, and it didn't really sit well with us. So we decided to switch it up, and now we make sure that everybody that we speak to says calling in, because it's a little bit more warm, it's a bit more positive. It's like taking somebody under your wing and saying, look, this is not okay, but this is why it's not okay. I want to educate you, want to make you see things from a different perspective, understand the impact that something you have said might have on somebody. And that's why. And I feel like we've touched so many people.
We have touched so many lives with calling in rather than calling out.
Yeah.
It's becoming a movement.
It's a movement.
Yeah. So I just wanted to end this section off by reading something that I found that I thought was really, really, summarises everything really well in terms of diversity versus representation. So while diversity is about bringing together people from all walks of life, representation ensures that these diverse employees, these people and their viewpoints can be found or depicted across all departments and across society in senior roles and levels within organisations and businesses. Representation is about, I want to be able to see people that look like me in roles that I can get to.
It's having a role model.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody that looks like you, that you can aspire to, that you can be inspired by, that you can be mentored by, all sorts of things, positive things come under representation.
You cannot be what you cannot see. That's what they always say, isn't it? And it's really true, because I feel like my whole career when I was in recruitment, I didn't meet a single black recruiter.
I feel like I have to disagree with that then, because literally what you just said is such a contradiction. You cannot be what you cannot see, but you could not see anyone else like you in recruitment or...
And I'm not a recruiter anymore.
You're not a recruiter anymore, but you was.
But I couldn't see anyone like me, so I didn't know. I didn't have anyone to look up to. I didn't have a role model.
But you was your own role model.
Yeah, I had
That's what I'm saying.
I had to be that for myself, and it's nicer when you have someone to look up to.
No, 100% I agree. I just don't know if I agree with that little quote.
You cannot be what you cannot see.
I think that you have to be empowered by yourself. If you cannot see yourself, be empowered by yourself. Keep going. But I am 100% am with the fact that you have to, there should be representation for everybody. That shouldn't be the way that you have to go.
I'm going to come back with a counter argument next week.
All right, I'll let you have some time to think about that one.
Yeah, I need some time and some research.
No worries.
Yeah, thank you. I like a good debate. Me, I do like a good debate. So we decided to go out onto the streets and ask some of our friends and family what they thought around.
We took it to the streets.
We took it to the streets, kids. So we went out and asked our friends and family. What was the question? What?
It was, what's more favourable?
What's more favourable?
Representation or diversity?
So one person didn't want to voice note because they didn't want their voice on the radio. Didn't want their voice on the airwaves. So we have actually got the quote from the person. So they said, representation, I think, is more positive word than diversity. You would want to represent something and be proud rather than say I'm diverse and think diversity is being used too much. Oh, sorry. I think diversity is being used too much now with everything going on in the world. Yes, you can have bad representation, but that is your self-inflicting.
So the interpretation of that,
I don't know what that means.
yeah, I would say is like basically what that person is saying is that it's better to represent something rather than be diverse, because diversity has been thrown around so much like a hot potato that it's almost become nil.
Right, yeah.
So
and that's
actually,
so true.
it's like representing. So I think what that person is talking about is about like representing something positive and like representing like a goal, or representing a movement, or representing like something positive. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Which I actually thought was a really nice take on the question.
Especially because I know who that's from. Really quite proud of that person. Yeah, it's really growth. Growth. Okay, so we've got some more to play. Let's have a little listen.
Can you top me up, please?
Oh, I didn't realise I was your bartender. Done.
Thought you missed it.
There we go.
Thank you.
Welcome. Just pouring the champers for Her Majesty. Right, so
Please.
let's go with this voice note and see what this person's got to say.
Okay.
Hey, what do you think is more favourable, diversity or representation? I think representation is more favourable. You can have a diverse workforce, but if there's not representation at the senior levels, I think, you know, that's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she just affirmed what we were already saying.
Yeah, but it's good to hear it from other people, like
No, it is,
outside
yeah,
of. And these
100%.
people that we've asked aren't in the DEI space.
No.
Or the EEI space, whichever one you want to do. Depends on if you want to drop the D or not, you know? So let's play another one. I agree with that person. Thank you so much for sending that in.
What do I think is more favorable, diversity or representation? I'm gonna go for diversity because I believe that diversity is the act of including or involving people from different diverse backgrounds, as opposed to representation where it's kind of speaking for those people. So I think diversity is more of a favorable approach to go, because it's getting an image and it's including people who are from different backgrounds, different races, different sexual orientations, different genders, and getting them in the story, getting them in the reality of what you're talking about, where representation is just showing them. And sometimes I believe maybe representation isn't conducted by the actual diversity or the people who should be behind it. Sometimes representation is done on behalf of different people, and it's not actually as diverse as you probably think it should be when you break it down.
Okay.
Interpretation. I don't get the last bit. I think I was a bit like, does he mean tokenism?
Yeah,
that's
that's the vibe I was getting. Yeah, so he's saying like basically, if you go down the route of representation, it can be tokenism for some companies,
similar to what the RD thing with him being like seeing as he's only got there because he's white, and so that can then okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting take on it though.
yeah, it was an interesting.
I do
take.
agree with the points that he made about how diversity makes everyone feel like they are included, but I feel like that's more inclusion than diversity.
Yeah, definitely. But then I guess if you don't have diversity within your... I feel like what he's saying, if you have a mould of the same type of person sitting within your business, you don't have diversity, nor do you have representation.
Oh, yeah. That's
That's why this question is a good one, I think, because obviously both are important at the end of the day.
And I think it's really important that people understand that we're not saying don't have diversity.
Yeah, it's definitely it's important that people understand that we're not saying one has overarching importance from the other. It's just that a lot of companies get the two mixed up.
Yeah.
And that's the key point.
Yeah.
That actually are different.
They're very, very different. And I think if you think you need diversity, ask yourself the question, what specifically am I looking for if I am looking for diversity? Because if you're looking for a specific characteristic, then you're not looking for diversity.
You're looking for representation.
Yeah. One more, and then we'll move on.
I love the voice notes.
Hello. So, to answer your question, what is more favourable, diversity or representation? I think, diversity should be, and I feel like it really is everywhere these days, and if there isn't, there's a problem. But I think what's more favourable is representation. The reason I think this, and it might not be the real, understanding of the meaning of what you're asking for, but the reason I think representation is more important is that it inspires people that see someone that is them doing something that they think that maybe they can't do. For example, just seeing someone, say you're working in a company and you see you're a boss or a manager or something you aspire to, that perhaps you don't think that you are worthy of, but you see someone that looks like you or is from the same background as you, has the same ethnicity, I can't say the word, as you, then it inspires you and makes you believe that you can also do that. So that's why I think representation is more favourable, because it inspires and it really makes you believe and see that things are possible.
Oh, I love that.
It inspires and it makes you believe that things are possible. Wow. And that was all the way from Australia.
That was from Oz.
That was from Oz. God, that's made me feel a bit emotional.
Yeah, same.
It's got me a bit emotional.
No,
Wow.
that was that was nice. I think the same. I sort of share that opinion as well. Well, as we said at the beginning. But I do think that both are really important. But I think that because diversity is so natural and organic and it's everywhere, representation at the moment needs more focus because it's not everywhere.
Yeah. And I think what that person just said on that last bit, which is diversity is seemingly everywhere. But if in your business you are diverse and you have got people that are exactly the same, I'm not talking about physically look the same, but we have been
Just think the same.
We've gone to clients where they have the same background, to the same ethnicity, but they also been to the same schooling. They live in the same area. So actually, you create this environment which is that you're not having any injection of new voices around the table. It's the voices are all the same. They're from the same background. They're from the same, and so it becomes this.
How do you expect to be creative or have new ideas and stuff? How do you expect to progress and move forward with just the same outlook, perspective, background within your business? I feel like that's just really a setup for failure.
But it happens sometimes because people recruit people that they like, and most of the time you like people that are like you.
Well, yeah, that's bias, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not bias. That's another subject. But I think what I'm trying to say is that if you do work in a business like that, it's really important to understand that you will need to work on diversity if that is your case, and and if not, then representation might be the thing that you need to focus on. Look at your senior leadership team, look at your exec board, look at the people leading the business and in charge. Do they all look the same, and do they have the same background? And then potentially, if the answer is yes, then you need to work on some representation. And working on representation is hard. It's not easy, and it's not a tick box exercise. It's a long-term journey, and we'll come on to how you do that, and we'll bring that up on another poddy another time. But it's it takes loads of work, and it takes thinking out of the box as well.
Yeah, it's just and time. Like, one thing you really need to understand, I think, is that sort of thing is not going to happen overnight. That's going to be a period of time and effort that you put into making it happen. Absolutely.
Should we jump to some questions? So we obviously did what we always do and asked our people, our fans, what they had any questions this week. And our fans came back with some questions. Right, should we take the first one?
Can't wait to hear them.
Okay. So, first question, I actually really like this question. How do you explain to a child what diversity is?
Oh, get some books.
As a mother, how do you explain to Maisie what diversity is?
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie, because I do actually find that question a little bit difficult, because it's not like one day I just sat down with her and was like, right, Maisie, this is what diversity is. It's been many different conversations that we've had and questions posed by her to me, and obviously her knowing what we do for a living.
Also growing up with us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sparking, different questions and stuff. But I think growing up, she naturally has had a lot of different types of people in her life. And so diversity to her is just a natural state. Do you know what I mean? So I think there was actually, I've got a good example. So the other day we were sat in a cafe. It's a cafe that's near to where we live, and we go there quite a lot. She likes panini. Anyway, we sat down, and there's a man that goes to this cafe, and he's there every day at the same time, 4:30, and he sits in the same chair on the same table, and he orders the same food. And I have known this man because I'm from a council estate, so it's very community based there. Everyone kind of knows everybody. I don't live there anymore, but that is my home. That's that's my hood. It's my hood.
That's what I go back to when I need grounding.
Just regularly. So yeah, we go to Maisie still goes to school there. So I've known this man since I was probably around my daughter's age, which is actually probably a little bit younger, actually, maybe 5, 6. So I've known him for a long time. I know that he has special needs, and we were sat down, and Maisie said to me, "Mummy, why does he sit in the same chair and have the same food every day? He's here every day." I was like, "How do you know? You're not here every day." She was like, "Every time I come here, he's here." And I was like, right, okay, yeah, how am I actually going to explain this now? Because now I need to explain to her that actually, I need to explain to her about neurodiversity now.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that I think we probably haven't spoken about, which is funny because my youngest brother, diagnosed with ADHD and ODD. So he's quite neurodiverse. We just haven't really spoken about it. It's just a natural thing in the household. Anyway, I sat there and I was like, right. I was like, so, you and I might do things a certain way, like, and we might do them the same way. So we go to school and you can sit down and listen to your teacher, and if your teacher tells you to write down a sentence, you can write down that sentence. She was like, yeah. I was like, well, some people can't do that. Some people don't learn the same way that we learn. I was like, so for instance, also my other brother, my middle brother, is severely dyslexic. He was statemented with that when he was like 12. He's 26 now. And I said to her, like, you know, Uncle would write something down and the words would then become jumbled up. So he has to learn a different way to us. I was like, so Michael over there, I was like, he is one of those people that learns differently to us. And that's why he has these little routine things. That's what makes him feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Just makes him feel, comfortable in his world.
Yeah.
But that was literally like as far as I got, and I did find it hard. Like, no word of a lie, I did find it hard because I was like, I was kind of caught off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, how do I explain that?
Yeah, I think like you said, I think some kids are really lucky because they'll go to schools where their schools are diverse, and they'll be in groups where they see diversity regularly. Like Maisie, you know, she goes to quite a diverse school.
She does.
She's hanging around with us lot for a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're all quite diverse as well anyway. And you know, I think she's really lucky and fortunate in that respect. But then I suppose there's other people that may not have that visual diversity, and so
Well, that was me.
yeah.
That was me when I was young. On that estate, it wasn't what it is today. It's very multicultural today. But, you know, 25 years ago, longer, 30 years ago, whatever.
Denial.
Whatever.
Denial.
It wasn't like that. It was just, everyone was white.
Yeah.
Everybody was white. Like, you know, I've since we've been on that road, the anti-racist roadshow, you know, one of the questions posed to the people in the roadshow, to the constituents of that roadshow, was like, when did you first become aware of your race? When did you first become aware of racism? And for me, it was at primary school, because everybody was white until maybe I was about year 2 or 3. A Somalian family moved to the estate, to the community, and the children went to my school. And that was the first time that I really recognised a different race. Like, I'm not saying that I'd never seen a black person before or any person of colour, but that was the moment when I realised that I was different.
Yeah.
They were different. They had a different experience to me, and were about to have a different experience to me through school as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think the way that I would probably, I mean, if I ever get blessed with a child, the way that I would ever probably describe it is to explain that we are all different and we all have loads of different things that make up our individuality, like, you know, our hair colour, our eyes, and that's how I would start the basics of like explaining what diversity means to a child.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said before, like right at the beginning, was that, you know, books are such an amazing way.
That's
and
what I was going to say. No joke, books really do help.
They
Like the
do.
ones that are available today.
Yeah.
Little plug.
Yeah, a little plug to good old
E&I
Shawnee boy.
Books on Instagram.
You need to follow Sean on Instagram. He has got this incredible Instagram page which is showcases loads of E&I books for kids, and he reviews the books and explains what the goal of the book is and what the storyline is meant to depict.
Little synopsis.
It's a great synopsis, and it's I'll add it to the show notes, but it's
E&I Books.
E&I Books. I should probably remember that.
I already said it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll add it to the show notes. But books are a great way to educate kids on diversity. And there's so many amazing good books out there right at the moment.
So many now. And you can select what you want to teach.
Yeah.
There's categories of E&I books.
Yeah.
You can hone in on whatever suits you and your family and your
especially
children.
when like your kid will ask you a specific question about something, you can go and find a specific book about that characteristics or that, and then you can use that to educate. So I think that's actually quite a good question.
Yeah. Loved
Really
it.
good question. Next question, which I think might be the only one that might have time for, but it says, what would your advice be for businesses? Would your advice be for a business not to focus on diversity at all?
No. Not at all. Like, don't
At all?
don't let it be your be all and end all.
Don't let it be your only focus point.
Don't let it be your only focus point.
And I think you have to use the
Make
data.
it your second point. Focus on inclusion.
Yeah. Sorry to interject. I've interrupted you so many times there.
Sorry.
I was like, but I would say is that what Louisa said, definitely. I would also say that you should use the data to decide on what your focus needs to be. Because if your data is showing you that you have actually got loads of diversity in your junior level roles, or in the low end of your business, then you don't need to focus on diversity there. You need to focus on maybe diversity within senior roles, and that means maybe more representation, etc. So I think you can use the data to lead you where you need to go. I also think that diversity is so much more, and without the data, you do not know enough about your team. You don't know enough about the people in your workplace, because you're basing it on what you can see, visual diversity, and obviously there's so much more than just
You
visual.
literally haven't got a clue.
Yeah, but a lot of people just go.
If you haven't got data, you've got no idea.
But they look at the room and they go, "We're so undiverse."
Yeah.
And actually, the data actually then will show you that you might lack visual diversity from gender and an ethnicity, but you might have neurodiversity. You might have people with mental health. I can't see the word. What's the word? Mental health conditions. You might have people that have hidden disabilities and all sorts. So I think people just don't ever think about that in terms of diversity as a whole. So that's why I think the data needs to be key. Data
is so important. Not the data that's like the stats that you pull off of, like, oh, ouch. That hurt my ear. Not the stats that like you pull off of the, like the UK government website and stuff that says 20% of blah, blah, blah and 50% of blah, blah, blah. Like, because that's not relevant to you. It's the data within your business that's important. It's about your people. That's the important stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you need to capture. That's what you need to work off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And that will drive your decisions. That will drive your focus.
It will show you where you need to make changes and improve. Yeah. Good question, though. Yeah, good question.
But don't ever think that we're telling you not to focus on diversity. We are just saying that diversity isn't actually the main focus point at the moment. The T is that you need to focus on inclusion. You need to focus on equity. You need to focus on equality, even though it's the law. But yeah.
It's the CC law.
It's the law. Okay, well, we are going to move on swiftly to Manny's of the Week.
Manny's of the Week.
She's got a jingle for everything. I'm going to up you. Manny's of the Week.
Shit, should we start a choir?
No. Absolutely not. So what's your manifestation of the week? I actually really love this part. I really do. Before you tell us your manifestation for this week, your manifestation for last week was...
Focus on myself. Which...
Have you done that?
I'm not going to lie. I haven't really at all.
Okay.
Do you know what? It's just been like a busy week. It's just been busy, and there's just always something going on. And every time I feel like I'm like, right, I need to do a little bit of self-care. Like, oh, maybe I'll run a bath. Like, I don't know, just things lapse over the time that I expected them to stop at. Like silly things like dinner.
Can I just give you a bit of advice?
Yes.
She doesn't want it, but I'm going to give it to her anyway.
I always want it. I'm here for
So
your advice.
I just think that life is always going to be lifing. It's always going to be busy. You're always going to be busy. It's never going to stop. This isn't going to stop.
I know that.
We're on a trajectory here, okay? You need to find time to do stuff for yourself, because otherwise you will lose it.
I am
And
tonight.
I've already started to see it.
Hubby's away. Maisie's away. I'm
Okay.
having a night to myself.
You actually need
So
to
my
do that.
manifestation from last week is actually happening tonight.
Okay, cool. So you're still manifesting it.
I'm watching Ginny and Georgia on Netflix.
Okay, so you're manifesting it still. So
Yeah, of course.
it's still-
What do you mean? I'm always manifesting it.
your manifestation doesn't have to, end by the end of the week. It can be ongoing.
Absolutely not. I always need time for myself.
So what's this week?
I haven't thought about it because obviously I've not focused on myself this week.
Okay.
What's yours? Come back to me.
Okay. My manifestation is actually going to be on focusing on myself. I'm taking
Oh
it.
my God, you stole mine.
Yeah, I'm taking it because I realise that I'm always trying to do things to make sure that everyone else is okay, and I sometimes forget to make sure that I'm okay. And
Oh my gosh, you are the absolute worst for that.
I am.
You are the worst.
And then I have a meltdown.
For years, I've been saying to Olajide, just learn how to say no.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
We practice sometimes. No, no. And he's
Yeah.
like, yes.
I know, I really struggle. And then, do you know what? I always think it's because I'm a nice person, but I don't think it is. I think it's because sometimes it's easier just to say yes.
I think it's because you're a Capricorn.
I'm also a control freak. I'm a serious control freak. That is my pandemic. Everything's a pandemic at the moment.
It's word of the month.
It's word
he always
of
has
the
these. Word of the month, yeah.
So yeah, my thing is going to be about focusing on me, and my manifestation from last week was patience, and I actually think I manifested it in a way that I didn't think it would manifest as well, because it came up today when we were at the panel at the roadshow thing with the Think Inclusive and Your D&I, and I said to everyone, the thing about the work that we're doing is that we have to be more patient. That we expect that we'll roll something out and it fixes a problem, and then we move on to the next thing, and then we're like, why is people still over there? Like, why are you so slow? Come on, catch up. And actually, we need to be more patient with the fact that people are on a journey, and the journey is, there's no time scale, there's no time frame, for people to get to the finish line, because there is actually no finish line right now. So we need to be patient, that people are going to take their time with it. And I was like, when I said it today, I was like, oh my God, I manifested that shit. I literally manifested this conversation, and I'm now manifesting it into other people's lives. I think they call that an influencer.
Oh God, here he goes again. For God's sake.
I am influencing the shit out of this.
Top 10 babes.
But yeah, so but I think when I even take it back to my own personal life, I've actually really been patient with things that are happening around me as well. I need to work on my road rage still, and that's something that I need to work on. But yeah, it's bad. But, small steps. So this week, I'm going to continue on with the patience, manifesting that patience. I think that's something that I'm going to continue driving, but I'm also going to focus on myself for this coming week, because I am important too.
100.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
I think we've come to the end of the show, no?
Yeah.
You never know when it's the end, do you? You like, last week you were
No,
like...
I just thought it was funny because I haven't actually said what my manifestation is.
You said you didn't know.
Oh, I thought it was coming back to me.
Do you want me to come back to you?
No, I'm actually all right. I think my little money for this week is that I'm actually gonna adopt a little bit of what you're saying, and I'm actually gonna slow down, because sometimes I can get a bit scatty.
Yeah. Just sometimes, yeah.
A little bit scatty in my head,
Yeah.
and then I end up forgetting stuff. Like today. Oh my God, I forgot so much stuff.
She literally turned up empty-handed. Empty-handed, no laptop.
What was that? No laptop, no makeup,
No charger.
no charger. But I did bring the glasses, so.
I was like, she literally turned up and she was like, I've got nothing. I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so actually, I think slowing down, being a little bit more organised this week is going to be my little money.
Would you like me to help you like push it for you. Like be like, this week, Louisa, how's your
I get
organisation?
enough push from you. I think I'm all right.
I could just give you a little drop a little line going, how's the organisation coming?
No,
what
you
are you doing
I
today?
don't like to be micromanaged. You know that. You absolutely know that. That gets my goat real
But
bad.
sometimes you need it just to realign yourself.
I do not like micromanaging.
Okay.
I will talk to you about that one day.
Okay, she will. If you want to ever know about Louisa micromanaging, check out one of our posts on social, because she did a whole post about it. She was really feeling a certain way on that day, and she was spilling a lot about someone, but we won't name names.
I always feel that way about micromanaging. It's not productive.
So we're manifesting what for you?
Slowing down.
Slowing down, and for myself, we're manifesting focusing on me. So we're switching it up, because patience and slowing down are quite similar.
That is true. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I did get inspo from you.
Happens influencing. So, thank you for a lovely conversation.
Thank you.
Again, we've done well, and it just happens. It goes by, and we're like
Every day.
all day,
I love it.
every day. Love it.
Love you.
So, stay brave, stay honest, and
Stay curious.
stay curious, everyone.